Well, well, well. Look who just made my day. If you're new around here, subscribe before your popcorn gets cold and send this video to someone who needs a smile. Oh, and don't leave without telling me where you're tuning in from. Your comments are pure gold. Ready? Let's make some noise. Friday night was supposed to be simple. I had just wrapped up a grueling assignment at work, and Linda had suggested we check out a newly opened French bistro downtown. I took it as an opportunity, a chance to reconnect. But from the moment we took our seats, something felt off. Her phone stayed planted on the table, and she gave it more attention and more smiles than she gave me. "Everything all right?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "It's just Celine," she answered quickly, not looking up, her fingers moving beneath her napkin. Celine, her colleague, was notorious for manufacturing chaos. The excuse sounded plausible, at first. The waiter handed us our menus. Linda gave hers the quickest glance before turning back to her phone. When it buzzed with an incoming call, she flipped it face down and laughed nervously. "Who was that?" I asked. "No one important, just forget it," she said casually. But I'd already caught the name before she turned the screen. Noah. Her ex, the man she once called toxic, someone she swore she had cut off for good. Not long after, she excused herself and went to the restroom. When she came back, I asked in a steady tone, "So, is Noah pretending to be Celine these days?" Her eyes snapped up. "What are you talking about?" I saw his name. There was a heart emoji next to it. She hesitated for a beat before irritation crept into her voice. "Ronald, you're being ridiculous." He messaged me, and I was just being polite. "Polite?" I asked, leaning back in my chair. "You've spent the whole dinner glued to that phone." Smiling, ignoring calls. She cut me off loudly, loud enough to draw attention from nearby tables. "You're making a huge deal out of nothing." It was harmless. Just some light flirting. Her words landed like a punch. She muttered something about me ruining the evening, shoved her chair back, and stood. "I'm done. I can't deal with this jealousy," she snapped before walking out and leaving me at the table alone. I sat there, staring across at her empty seat. A wave of realization hit me like cold wind. This wasn't harmless. I stayed long enough to pay the bill and finish my drink. Then I walked home alone. Even then, I tried not to jump to conclusions. Not yet. I needed something concrete. When I got home, I unlocked my phone out of habit. One tap brought up her newest story post. There she was, at the Beacon Lounge, a few blocks from the restaurant. Noah had his arm wrapped around her. Their faces were close, both of them grinning. The caption read, "Best night ever. New beginnings." The timestamp placed it minutes after she'd stormed out of the bistro. I took screenshots. Everything. The photo, the time, the location. I emailed them to myself. I didn't trust the platform to keep them up. Then I logged into our shared credit card account. There it was, Beacon Lounge, 2 drinks, charged less than 30 minutes after she walked out. I didn't call. I didn't text. I said nothing. Instead, I applied for a new credit card in my own name. By midnight, I had changed every password she might know, bank accounts, cloud backups, email, everything. The next morning, I contacted our phone provider and requested a secondary SIM card. A new number, one I intended to give only to family and a few close friends. I made it clear, under no circumstances should it be shared. That afternoon, I sat down to write a short email. Subject, last night. Linda, I saw your story. It looks like you've made your choice, and I'm giving you the space you clearly want. If you're serious about having a conversation, I expect total honesty and a clear written timeline of everything that happened last night. No vague answers, no excuses. I want it by Sunday evening. If I don't get it, the silence continues. For good. No insults, no blame, just the truth. And from here on, clear boundaries. Her reply came less than an hour later. 4 paragraphs filled with deflection, half-hearted apologies, accusations that I was controlling. Still, not a single clear answer to my one request. I closed the laptop, set my phone down, and let the silence fill the room. This wasn't confusion, this was a pattern. The next evening, the doorbell rang. When I checked the peephole, there she was, Linda, holding 2 bags from my favorite Thai spot. "Ronald, please," she said softly as I opened the door with the chain still latched. Her voice was gentle, rehearsed. I overreacted. "I just want to talk." I stayed calm. "Then tell me one thing. Why did you end up at Beacon Lounge with Noah right after you left dinner?" Her eyes shifted. "We just ran into each other. Total coincidence. Nothing happened. We were just catching up." I slid my phone halfway through the slightly opened door, letting the screen illuminate the sliver of space between us. A single screenshot lit up, a timestamp, a gleeful caption, and 2 radiant faces. Best night ever. It didn't look like a coincidence. Her jaw tightened, and her tone turned defensive. "Why are you digging through all this like it's some investigation? Why are you acting like a detective with screenshots and timelines? You're making this into something way bigger than it is." "I'm only asking for the truth," I said. "So here's what needs to happen. If you think I'm wrong, prove it. Give me the entire breakdown of last night. Calls, texts, your locations. No evasions, no omissions. Until that happens, don't show up here again without notice." Her voice trembled. "Ronald, this is absurd. I'm your wife, not some criminal on trial. You yelled at me in public, then 20 minutes later posted a photo with your ex saying it was a new beginning. That wasn't my choice, Linda. That was yours. Can't we just sit down and talk over dinner?" "No," I said flatly. "If this relationship still has any meaning at all, then I want the truth in black and white. Send it to me by Sunday. If I don't get it, then I'm done." Her face shifted from hurt to rage, but I shut the door before she could fire back. This wasn't a discussion anymore. It was record-keeping. By the 3rd day, the messages began trickling in, each one from a different angle. The first came from Selena. "Ronald, Linda's devastated. She says you shut her out with no explanation. Would you at least hear her out?" I ignored it. The next day, my sister Claudine called. "Ronald, I got this weird message from Linda. She says you're refusing to even speak to her, like you've vanished. What's happening?" I kept my tone even. "She left our dinner early to meet up with her ex. Then she posted about it like it was the highlight of her year. I gave her a chance to explain. She chose not to. That's all there is." There was a pause, then Claudine exhaled slowly. "Okay, I needed to hear your side of it." Her voice carried a mix of worry and reluctant understanding. By Wednesday, Linda escalated. She showed up at my workplace unannounced, holding a folder like it held her last hope. She caught sight of me just as I stepped out for lunch. "Ronald, please, just give me 5 minutes." "No," I said, not breaking stride. Before she could move closer, building security stepped forward. Mr. Duvall, the head of security, glanced at me. "Would you like us to walk her out, sir?" "Yes," I replied. "Please be respectful." Her voice echoed through the atrium as she argued, but I didn't look back. That evening, I drafted a brief but clear email. "Linda, you are no longer allowed to appear without prior notice. If you need to pick up your belongings, we will coordinate through a neutral third party at a public location. All further communication must be in writing. Please do not contact my friends, family, or co-workers. This is your only warning." Before sending it, I called an old college friend, now a practicing attorney, to get a legal perspective. I wasn't looking for a fight, just guidance. He told me I was handling things correctly. Stay composed, keep a paper trail, maintain distance. I sent the message. Linda was stirring drama. I was drawing the line. A week later, I proposed a structured solution. She could collect her things, but only from the building's main lobby, under supervision. No theatrics, no private scenes, no room for manipulation. On Saturday, I came downstairs with a basic cardboard box, some books, a few clothes, and a framed photo. Anything emotionally charged had already been removed. As the glass doors slid open, Linda entered, and she wasn't alone. Noah followed close behind, smirking like he was walking into a victory. "Seriously?" I muttered. "You brought him?" Linda lifted her chin. "I thought you might benefit from hearing both sides. Maybe then you'll stop twisting everything." I set the box down on the reception counter and took out a folder I'd brought. printed screenshots from her best night ever post, my credit card statement from Beacon Lounge, and the receipt from the rideshare she took. "Linda," I said with calm clarity, "you claimed you just ran into Noah. But according to this receipt, you ordered a car to Beacon less than 5 minutes after leaving our dinner. The timestamp lines up. So do the charges. So let's get real. Was this just some random meeting or was it planned?" Noah's smug look began to slip. He shifted his weight, uneasy. "Okay, look," he said slowly. "We'd seen each other a couple times before that, but it wasn't—" Linda's head jerked toward the sound of his name. "Noah!" she gasped, but the damage was already done. Whatever lie she had prepared fell apart in an instant. Without speaking, I slid the folder across the countertop. "Everything you need is in there. Gather your belongings and go. There won't be any further conversation." For once, she was at a loss for words. Scowling, she muttered something I didn't bother to catch, grabbed the box, and stormed out. Noah lingered momentarily, as if unsure of what to do, but I didn't even look his way. Eventually, he turned and left after her. The snare hadn't snapped on me, it had closed around them. By midweek, I had already replaced the locks, changed all access codes, deactivated her keycard, and had her name removed from the mailbox. I didn't want ambiguity. I wanted closure. The fallout came quicker than I expected. Celine, the same Celine who had once so passionately defended Linda, sent me a quiet message one evening. "Ronald, I'm sorry. I didn't know the whole truth. She never mentioned Noah or the post. I should have asked you first." I kept my response brief. "It's okay. We both learned something." Even Noah vanished from sight after that. A neighbor said they'd seen him alone at Beacon, complaining to anyone who'd listened that Linda had come with too much drama. The irony didn't escape me. Soon after, Linda's emails began, an avalanche of shifting tones. First came sorrow, then anger, then pleading. She accused me of being heartless, claimed I was destroying years of our lives over one night, swore her thing with Noah was over, begged for a face-to-face talk. I wrote a single response. "Linda, any further attempts to contact my friends, relatives, or colleagues will be recorded and treated as harassment. This is my final communication outside of formal legal channels." That slammed the door shut, but she still tried one last card. A complaint landed in my company's HR inbox, accusing me of being mentally unstable and claiming I was unraveling. I went straight to HR, dropped the same folder on the director's desk, full of logs, screenshots, timestamps, everything. She reviewed it silently, then gave a nod. "We'll disregard her claim. Honestly, you've handled this with far more poise than most people would." Linda wasn't losing because I outplayed her. She was losing because I never played by her rules. 3 quiet weeks passed. I let myself believe it was done. Then one evening, walking home from work, I saw her, sitting alone on the front steps of my building, arms wrapped tight around herself, head down like a child who'd been scolded. I stopped a few feet away. "Linda," I said evenly, "you're not permitted to be here." She raised her face. Her eyes were red, but no tears fell. "We need to talk, Ronald. Really talk, please. There's nothing left to discuss." I tried to move past, but she shifted to block me. "You owe me this," she said, her voice sharp. "After everything we've been through, 5 minutes isn't too much to ask." I paused, not to consider but to respond. "No, Linda. I don't owe you anything. You made your choices. You screamed at me in public, ran to your ex, and made sure the whole internet saw it. That's on you." Her hands curled into fists. "You're ending all this over one stupid night." Just one mistake. Even Noah's stopped talking to me. He called me manipulative. I raised a brow. "So the guy you said gave you the best night of your life dumped you, and somehow that's my fault?" She flinched but fired back. "You could have handled it better. Had a real conversation. You didn't have to lock me out like that." I stepped in, not angry but firm. "Better? Like when you yelled at me across a restaurant? Like when you posted a picture with Noah less than 30 minutes later, saying it was a fresh start? Was I supposed to talk it out after you slandered me at work?" Each question hit harder than the last. her posture deflated, her presence shrinking before me. "I wasn't thinking," she whispered. "I was just hurt." "No," I said calmly. "You were thinking. You just weren't thinking about anyone but yourself. And here you are again, still trying to make it about me." She searched my face for softness, found none. After a long silence, she asked, "Then what do you want? What ends this?" "I want you gone," I said, my voice low and clear. "If you ever show up here again, I will contact the authorities. I've documented everything, screenshots, messages, witnesses. It's all there. This ends now." Her face turned ghostly pale. She knew I wasn't bluffing. She didn't respond, just stood frozen on the steps, jaw clenched, eyes darting like she was trying to find a crack in the wall. But there weren't any left. Eventually, she picked up her phone, made a short call, and within moments, a rideshare car rolled to a stop outside. She entered without a glance back, without a single word. That was the last time I saw her in person. What followed wasn't the tense, lingering silence I had grown used to, the kind that made me brace for the sound of her return. It was a different kind of quiet, final. There were no late-night emails, no surprise visits, no echoes of her presence. Just silence. Roughly 4 weeks later, I went back to the same French restaurant where the cracks had first begun to show. I asked for the same table, ordered the same dish, but across from me this time, there was no phone buzzing incessantly, no clipped voices or rising tension filling the air. I caught myself thinking about that night, how her phone screen had lit up with a name I recognized. Noah. How she'd immediately lashed out, accusing me of overreacting. "It was harmless," she'd said. "Just a little flirting." She wielded that line like a shield, but all it really did was reveal what she was trying to hide. Now the memory felt distant, dull, like an echo that no longer stirred anything in me. Slowly, life resumed its pace. I got back to my early morning workouts, began cooking my own meals again. I didn't need vengeance. I wasn't looking for some final confrontation to wrap things up. What I wanted, what I finally had, was peace. And that peace was built on something Linda never once gave me: the truth.